Welcome back to Mandarin Pod for Children. I am your host, Grace. In our first two episodes, we talked about two important strategies: celebrating small wins and building consistent routines. Today, we're diving into another powerful approach that can make a huge difference, especially for parents who don't speak Chinese: smart use of technology and finding a supportive community. And I'm thrilled to have Mark back with us. Mark is a parent who's been walking this path with his daughter Lily, and he has so much real-world experience to share. Welcome back, Mark.
Hi, Grace. Thanks for having me again. This topic is super close to my heart because without technology and community, I don't know where we'd be.
You're absolutely right. Technology today offers so many new possibilities, even for families who don't speak the language at home. Mark, could you start by sharing some of the ways you've used technology to support Lily's learning?
Sure. Early on, I realized that we couldn't rely on just books or flashcards, especially since my wife and I don't speak Chinese ourselves. We started exploring apps designed for young learners. Some of them are very playful, matching games, songs, simple quizzes. Lily immediately took to them because they didn't feel like work. She was just having fun.
That's such a great point. When learning feels like a game instead of a chore, kids naturally stay more engaged. Were there any types of apps that worked better for Lily than others?
Definitely. Apps that were highly interactive kept her attention much longer. The ones that made her tap, drag, match pictures to sounds, those really clicked with her.
I love that distinction. Active engagement matters so much more than passive exposure when it comes to building real skills. And for families listening, when choosing apps, look for ones that encourage kids to touch, say, match, or repeat, not just watch videos passively. Did you also explore other types of digital resources beyond apps?
Yes. One thing that surprised us was how helpful simple video platforms were. We found storytime channels featuring animated children's books. Even though we couldn't understand every word, Lily was drawn in by the colorful visuals and expressive storytelling. Watching short stories before bed became part of our routine. And even though we weren't actively teaching her, she was soaking up words, phrases, even tones without realizing it.
That's brilliant. Story-based content gives kids context and emotional connection, which makes language learning much more powerful than isolated vocabulary drills. Did you set any guidelines for screen time around this?
We did, actually. We decided early on that screen time for language learning would be limited to about 15 to 20 minutes at a time. We wanted it to stay fun, not feel like a marathon. Also, we often sit with her while she watches. We might not understand the words, but we point to the pictures, react to the story, and ask her simple questions like, "What do you think is happening?" That way it's more interactive.
That's a fantastic strategy. Parents often underestimate the power of simply being present. You don't have to speak Chinese to encourage curiosity, make guesses together, and show enthusiasm. It all sends a powerful message to your child: this matters to us.
Exactly. I think sometimes parents are afraid they'll do it wrong if they don't know the language themselves. But honestly, kids aren't judging your pronunciation or knowledge, they just see that you care.
I couldn't agree more. Now, beyond technology, another big factor in keeping kids motivated is having a community around them. Mark, how did you go about finding a community for Lily?
At first, it felt overwhelming. We didn't know anyone else personally who was learning Chinese. But after a little searching online, we found a weekend playgroup about 20 minutes from our home. It wasn't a formal class, it was more like a gathering where bilingual volunteers led kids in songs, crafts, and simple activities. It was low pressure and focused on fun. Lily loved it immediately because it wasn't just about sitting and listening, it was social and playful.
That's such a valuable find. When kids see other kids speaking or learning Chinese, it normalizes the experience. It's not just something my parents make me do, it becomes part of their world. Did you also find support for yourself as a parent through this group?
Absolutely. We met other parents who were in the exact same situation, non-Chinese speaking parents raising kids who were learning Chinese. We swapped tips about apps, shared favorite songs or videos, even vented on tough days. It made the journey feel a lot less lonely.
That's huge. Community isn't just for the kids, it's for parents too. And for those listening, if there isn't a group near you, don't hesitate to start small. You don't need a huge event. Even gathering 2 or 3 families for story time at a park once a month can make a difference. Or you can find online groups and virtual communities. There are wonderful forums and online meetups these days.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be complicated. The important thing is not feeling like you're doing this alone. Having a community gives you energy on the hard days and fresh ideas when you feel stuck.
So well said. Now, if you had to share your biggest lesson from combining technology and community to support Lily's Chinese learning, what would it be?
I'd say use technology to make exposure easy and playful, but remember that human connection is what keeps kids emotionally invested. Apps and videos can build skills, but relationships with parents, with peers, with supportive adults are what make the journey joyful and sustainable.
Beautifully put. Thank you so much, Mark, for sharing all these practical insights with us. Let's make a summary of what parents can do to help kids persist in learning Mandarin. First, use technology intentionally. Look for interactive apps and story-based videos that invite kids to engage actively. Second, keep sessions short and sweet. Aim for quality, not quantity. Third, be present. Sit with your child, ask questions, react with curiosity even if you don't understand the language yourself. Last, find your community. Whether it's local or online, having people to walk this journey with you makes an enormous difference. Remember, you don't have to be perfect, you just have to be present. Every small effort you make today lays the foundation for your child's future confidence and success. Thank you for joining us today on Mandarin Pod for Children. We'll see you next time with more ideas, encouragement, and real-world strategies to help your child thrive on their Chinese learning adventure.